Hello, everyone, and welcome to 2024. Thank you for waiting if you have been waiting for us out there because we have had a technical glitch at the very beginning of 2024 to kick it off. But none the wiser, here we go. So I'm Chris and welcome you to the Amplify Your Brand series, the ultimate live in a building a powerful brand in today's digital age. So along with our friend and fellow branding expert, Sim there, we're here to share the expertise and help you take your brand to the next level. So whether you're an entrepreneur, a small business owner, or a marketing professional, this live stream is packed with practical insights and strategies that will help you amplify your brand and stand out in the digital landscape. So please get ready, take some notes, take what we talk about today into action, because by the end of this live stream, you'll have a roadmap for building a better brand which truly resonates with your target audience. So thank you for joining us today, and let's find another way to amplify your brand. And Sim, the topic of choice is to kick off a brand new year by revisiting the new or existing brand strategies that people have in 2024. Like many people, you have personal goals you want to achieve, and you go through your, New Year's resolutions and things like that. Brands are no different.
Like brands are no different. And the time has come to recommit, to reorganize and refocus on what went well last year, what is needed of this year, and how to do about it. Because statistically and cyclically, this is the time of the year where people have a break and actually check in with themselves, be present to the time of the year, and that gives everybody the opportunity to reflect upon those things. So the time to recommit, reassign, and anything is upon us in 2024 is definitely going to be a new opportunity for everybody.
That's right. Yeah. So looking forward to getting into the topics we're going to go through today. But just before we do, we just want to highlight to everyone that what we talk about today is based on our P8 branding program, where we've spent over 20 years developing and upgrading the branding on identity framework, which encompasses 8 critical sections of brand, which we call the 8 Ps, an easy to understand implemented program that your business owner can use to amplify your brand. Normally we have a particular section we talk about, but this one today will cover all of them in some shape or form. So we look forward to having a chat with you as we go through this process. And if there is people out there, please throw us questions. We're more than happy to answer them as we go through it. But look, let's introduce it by saying today is about staying ahead of the curve with insights into emerging trends, mastering the art of crafting compelling content, and navigating dynamic landscapes of the digital platforms, which we use to optimize your brand's online presence as it's essential in 2024. We want you to harness the power of data-driven insights to refine your branding approach, and then diving into the world of brand storytelling that creates a powerful narrative to forge emotional connections that are all essential. So on top of this, we're going to develop an innovative campaign ideas, or explore them, and foster community engagement. And we're exploring influencer collaborations, elevates your customer experience, which might lead to you embracing sustainability in your marketing to align with your brand and your evolving customer values. That's a lot to get through, and I look forward to get through these things. We've picked 10 topics that we think are going to be relevant for you today to help you with your brand new year and revisiting your brand strategy or starting a new one, if depending on where you are. And to kick it off, we're going to look at this because it was a big year last year. So research emerging trends that you can apply in 2024. The one that we're going to kick off with here is uncover cutting-edge technology advancements and cultural shifts that influence consumer behavior. Because we came into 2023 last year, and there was this bubbling thing going on behind the scenes that, ChatGPT was the fastest growing app on the world, and AI was going to maybe have a big year. It was a massive year. You could not avoid it. If you were under a rock, it was probably a blended rock by AI. They had it was an amazing thing. And if you didn't embrace it, you lost an opportunity to do some amazing new things for your brand, for your business, whatever the case be. Because it literally changed so many processes in every business and how they did it. And it didn't mean that it replaced humans. It was just we did things differently, more effectively, more efficiently. There was just different things you could do, and definitely creatively for us, Sim. There was a lot of things that we did this year or last year that if AI wasn't around, we would have had to have done a different way. But because AI was around, we were able to explore new ways to do things, saved a bunch of time, made a whole bunch of creative that was interesting to how we would normally approach it. And there was some things, apologies to a lot of our photographer friends, because we didn't end up using you for some of the projects we normally do, because we were able to have a bit of a, tinker with that. But there was still a need for you because we had your consultation on what we were doing and how we were going about it. So it was, again, just adapting to how that works. Now, another approach here is to, do you want to go into AI at all?
Or? Keep going, and I'll wrap everything up when you're done.
Another thing to explore is gaining foresights into the industry-specific trends that your industry might have, ensuring your brand remains relevant and innovative. So just because we mentioned AI, that didn't mean every industry had an influence on AI, but there was a lot of them that had a massive impact, and you need to look at that. So this year, look at trends that might have a huge impact on your industry and your business, and see where that takes you in ways you can apply that to your branding and your marketing activities. And then finally, when it comes to emerging trends, it's understanding the implications on global events or marketing dynamics that consumers have with expectations. So you may not have the war in Ukraine influencing you. You may not have Hollywood movie blockbusters influencing you, but you just might have something that's globally happening that is going to have an impact on your business, whatever that is. And you need to make sure you look into that trend and see how 2024 is going to be, because maybe 2023 was horrible because of those trends, but it's now flipped and it's pivoted, and this year is the year when you can maybe capitalize on it. So look at those things. I know you touched on trends, especially when it comes to fitness and health.
Yes, well, the recurring trend every year, especially at this time in January, early part of the year, is always to tap into the tendencies, the trends that keep happening. On December 31st, everybody has the best intentions. Everybody recommits to fitness goals. Everybody has new reset intentions, and those intentions affect certain industries: health industry, fitness industry, equipment, gyms. All of these trends produce an immediate spike in those industries. Like if you don't play in these industries, that is completely fine. But understand that the time of the year will automatically rehash some recurring trend to some degree. The AI entire space is revolutionizing the way we did things. We don't need to do certain things that we used to. We just like when the computer came along, we didn't have to spend so much paper and so much time typewriting everything. We just became much more efficient, and it is very, very, very early days, the childhood really of AI age, and it's still very much up for grabs to get into this space, understand how it works, how it will impact and disrupt from the competition standpoint, from the organizational standpoint. It is still a thing to be adopted and definitely considered, because like a massive tidal wave, you can't ignore it and expect it not to affect you positively or negatively. And then understanding the implications of global events and market dynamics gives us talking points, entry points to the conversations that are happening everywhere, online and offline, which is something that brands need to be aware. They need to have the presence and connection to reality. Otherwise, they sound like outdated politicians speaking from inside their closed environments and offices. That's not where the space is headed. We need to align with values. Brands need to be much more on one side of the fence, or the other side of the fence. The fence sitting is going to mean irrelevance. It's going to mean lack of courage to say something. It's going to mean that gray tone that you don't really see if it's black, if it's white. And you will attract or repel audiences based on that value alignment. So I think 2024 is already kickstarted a huge value alignment trend that I think repercusses itself through a number of fronts.
Yeah. So look at trends, see where it fits into your business. Okay, the next topic we're going to talk about here is, now that you've understood trends, you need to maybe look at how you're going to go about developing content around those trends for the entire 2024. And we're saying the entire 2024. So go to the calendar and pick things that are going to make your brand stand out, or you can maybe do a campaign around. And I always talk to clients about this, is look at what you can do in the lead up to that day or that period, and then look at during the period what you're going to do, and then after the closing of that period is, what are you going to do? These things will help you into deep diving into storytelling techniques that will resonate across a diverse audience in those platforms, which is really something that people don't do well. And we would love to work with clients if they don't understand what that's all about. But we just know that if you have a good story and you use it along these things that are happening in either your industry, on a calendar date, or specifically throughout the year, these things will help your brand stand out and become, as you said earlier, relevant. So explore those content personalization strategies to connect with the individuals on more intimate levels. So if you're currently a brand using a CRM, or you have a CRM, use this quieter period for some industries in the world out there at the moment to look into your data and explore what you could do maybe, and say, as I said, personalize the content for particular people on that CRM that you have, and see how you can go about making them feel a little bit more special in 2024. And then look at learning and adapting those content strategies along with any evolving customer preferences and values. Referring back to what we just touched on in the first thing about trending, if there's something going on there, how can you make either an email campaign, a social media campaign, an event that's going on in your local area that you can attend and you can actually have some impact, because it's aligning with those values of your consumer and your target audience and your business. Do you want to talk on anything about content strategy for 2024?
Simplify it. I myself have had a number of challenges in the past, because when content strategy, the words just hearing the content strategy sometimes tends to be a little bit, how to best put it, confronting, and you think that you need to have everything specifically drawn out and very granular detail. That's not the case at all. A content strategy is simply as putting a grid on a sheet of paper. If you want to draw it. If you have Excel, just do it. And deciding what content fits your audience, what types of specific content fits, what topics are they looking for, and just start assigning those to the days of the week, and even in terms of months, where the trends are going, where you want to take your audience through, and put down the main stones along the pathway. And you can get granular on a monthly basis, and then go and create the specific pieces of content to release on specific platforms once you have your entire year. So start big, keep going smaller, and down to the individual nitty-gritty pieces.
Exactly, yeah. And look, you've got a brand, so use it and look at how it fits into things. It's actually should be kind of a process for you, because again, that's what I'm saying, when you go through the brand values, these things just seem to kind of stand out. They glow even. So now that you've got your content strategy, you've seen some trends, some of the things you now need to explore is, what digital platforms do you use throughout 2024? So look, this really does depend on the type of business you run and what you do and all those sort of things. But you need to delve into the latest features and updates on these major social media platforms for optimal engagement. Last year, if you were a Facebook audience and you had used Twitter, then Threads popped up. So there was an opportunity last year to maybe look at that was something new for you to take on. 2023 was also a year where TikTok became a lot more relevant to businesses, because people were using it for tips and trends and how-tos, and they started using it more like YouTube. It stopped being the gimmicky, sing-along or dance thing. It had a lot more had
business utilization. Absolutely.
So it became more relevant to bigger markets. So that was something to look out for last year, and still continuing this year. Then you look at navigating those emerging channels that understand the unique advantages for brand visibility. So like I touched on earlier, Threads was an opportunity just to get there and just create a whole new platform, a whole new audience for people that were early adopters to that platform. And you could have maybe created a whole new audience for yourself and drawn them back across to, if you were LinkedIn or you were Facebook or Instagram, you could use that opportunity to drag them to your other platforms. And that's where I was touching on there, discovering cross-platform integration to create cohesive online brand presence. So some brands can do it. They can go across all of them. A lot of brands have to, businesses we work with have to be specific about the types of social platforms they use, and they get the bigger impact if they use one over the other. Some clients we work with, YouTube has no relevancy because of the type of video content that they can't or can create. Where other clients we have, YouTube is the medium because of the type of content they're creating all the time. So just think about how those things influence your business and which digital platform you should use. There's no wrong answer with that one, other than the fact that you need to be at least on one of them and use that well and do it regularly and consistently. And if you follow the slide we just talked about with content strategy for 2024, you shouldn't have a problem with that because you've now got a content strategy you can implement and you're going to push it out to one of these platforms. Is there anything else you want to touch on when it comes to platforms?
No, for brands to be visible, that's as simple as it can get. Yeah. There are many platforms. You don't necessarily need to place all your eggs on all of them or each one of them. Just make sure you are findable, searchable, and identifiable. Make sure your presence looks coherent, so that even if you just focus on one platform, all the others do reflect the same appearance and they say the same things. And if people prefer to follow your content on one of those platforms, perfect, but just make sure you are, in fact, searchable.
That's right. So now that we've done those three things, we're going to look into data insights and apply them to 24. So you're now getting data from the activity that you're doing. So, or last year you did these activities and you want to explore any advanced analytic tools that are out there or methodologies for deeper understanding of consumer behavior. This doesn't have to be digital online, by the way. It can be things offline. There are so many things you can do offline that will give you some data that you can then apply to get them either online or position yourself offline and make sure you're being, as you said earlier, seen and relevant and searchable or whatever the case be. So then you need to learn how to interpret that data patterns and leverage actionable insights to refine the marketing strategy. So if you can understand the data you're being presented, and I highly recommend you pay someone to do this as well if you're going to go down this pathway, because depending on the size of your business, you could double, you could multiply your business just by knowing that there's a certain activity your consumers do and you weren't doing it last year, and this year you can actually have a go at it, and you just may find that your business may just improve overnight because of just that one decision, because that piece of data highlighted that you were on that corner of some street and they were actually on the other corner, and you just had to change street location. That's all you had to do. Like, there's those kind of things that are just that simple sometimes. So then the other thing to understand is the ethical considerations of that data usage and privacy in the evolving digital landscape. So obviously we talk about Big Brother all the time, and we've seen the Facebook influence over the years with some of the, even like, as I said, political situations where they've used data in a really, really, really bad way to get certain politicians into play and things like that. So you've got to be mindful of how you use that data and don't get caught out, because as you saw with those situations, they were winning for a while, but once people were aware of it, then they lost a whole bunch of audience because people didn't like it. So make sure you're ethical about how you use the data and how you go about that, because it's really important. It's like most, as the saying says, the truth will come out eventually. It's just a matter of time.
Eventually.
Yeah, be mindful of how you go about that. Look, this is my favorite part of this, even though I love graphics and all sorts of other stuff, but I love a good story. I love a good yarn. And what is your story? Is your brand telling throughout 2024? So look at ways to uncover the psychology behind storytelling and the impact on your brand's perception. We've done a whole live stream on this last year, so go look that out if you're looking for how to go about brand storytelling in a bigger version of what we've touching on here. But the simple fact is, if you can get people to buy into what you're doing now and you give them an end game and you go, okay, well, what we're going to do is we're going to take them on this little journey and we're going to give them little breadcrumbs of what we're doing, and we're going to tease out a plot line that they're going to be intrigued by for your industry. And then by the end of the year or the next seasons or in a couple of months from now, you have the big reveal. That's something you can do to launch your 2024 so that people are buying into the story that you're telling. It doesn't mean you're making it up. It's just that you've got a story to tell and you want people to follow you on that journey. And how can you develop one for yourself? We were talking about personal goals earlier. If you were a personal goal person trying to lose weight, which is the classic, and you said, I'm fat, you have the photo now, and then you went off and lost all that weight, people would follow that journey, right? If you were looking for love, you might have that journey. When it comes to branding and your personal brand or whatever the case be, you may just put it out there. This is what I'm going to try to achieve this year. Come on my journey with me, and people follow you. And that could be one story you go about. I'd love to see that. If that does work for you this year, please yell out to us. We'd love to know more about it. And then, look, you need to develop strategies for crafting an authentic narrative that resonates with the diverse audience, which is what I was just touching on then, right? So if you've got a personal thing you're going to try to do, then look at how you can make that authentic. So don't just say, I'm going to lose a bunch of weight and then do nothing and sit on the couch, right? That's not going to get a lot of people following you. If you have a real crack and you do have some, success with it, then you're going to get some pats on the back. You're going to get some followers. You may even get some sponsorship deals. And we're going to talk about influencers and other things later. That just may come on the journey with you, and you may end up creating a big audience. Yes, Sim?
Yeah, well, these 3 points just pop up all sorts of ideas in my head. And to start with the first one, and covering the psychology behind storytelling and impact on brand perception, I think the most important thing that we have to take into consideration in today's day and age is that storytelling is one channel for the story to be conveyed. Now we need to be very good, very efficient at story showing. This is what the platforms that we've just talked about are very good at. We can story tell, but can we story show? That ties into the third point. We'll get there in a second. Yeah. The narratives and how authentic it is comes back to tying it with data. This is an interesting one. Go to answerthepublic.com and look for the keywords that you are for which industry you're in. You will find dozens of the associated terms of search online that give you the entry points to create titles and blog pieces and pieces of content that tie in your narrative to those relevant searched terms. This is where authenticity mixes with data. Data is not a cold, hard statistic unless you let it be and stay in that realm. You need to tie in your story with how people are searching for the data, which takes us then to the third point, exploring the visual storytelling, story showing, multimedia content, enhancing brand storytelling, and putting it on steroids. If you have a compelling narrative, you tie it to the good data that you've just researched on online and offline platforms, you're able to craft something and show something to the world that is going to be relevant, that compels people, and that aligns with their values. This is the 3 points that I wanted to touch on.
Yeah, and with the visual storytelling multimedia, like we have this device, it's just there, like, and people don't want
an incredible walking studio.
Yeah, they don't want it perfect. Like, doesn't even if you are a big brands know that they still have to do, like McDonald's know they have to do the ads, but you will see online McDonald's have different types of content and ads and things like that, where they do have influencers using this device to talk about their brand on that phone, and it's just raw content. It's not perfectly lit. It's not perfectly maked up. It's just raw content, being authentic and going with it. But again, you've got to choose the course and horse for your approach to that. So just be mindful that not everyone's like that, but it is that easy if you are at a certain level with your brand. Anyway, let's move on to exploring innovative ways to run that campaign. So, look, you've done all the other things that we've talked about, but then there's sometimes you want to analyze successful case studies of innovative campaigns that have disrupted the market. And when I say the market, it might be some other market that they've done something really cool that you can do, and you can apply it to your brand and your market at all sorts of levels, whatever that is. So just, look into things that others are doing and see whether you can find ways that you can innovate your current campaigns by using those techniques with your brand that maybe 2023 you didn't do, but 2024, new beginnings, new starts, let's get it going. Now, exploring guerrilla marketing tactics and unconventional approaches to maximize the impact is not for everybody, but there are times when, if you know your audience is going to be at a big event, I know, say a big music band is coming to town, and you just want to be around the area that they're going to be, and you hand out flyers, or you do a big, an airplane flyover, or you spray water around and water bottles with your brand on it if it's a hot summer day. Like, there's things you can do to get your brand out there. You just need to be innovative in how you go about that. And as I said, with guerrilla marketing, you just need to look at places where you can show up and pop up that people wouldn't be expecting you to be there, but you're there. And look, you don't have to be a huge brand to do the big things that big brands do. Like, you can be a little brand and make some impact with these things on all sorts of levels. And we love exploring that with our clients when we talk to them about how this can work for you. So, yeah.
Yes.
And then understanding the balance between creative strategy in a campaign. So we have lots of clients that have a great idea, but it's champagne, in this way that needs to be executed with money, and then they have a budget of beer, right? So
for beer.
Yeah, exactly. So be realistic about how you approach this creative idea, because you need to have the creative and the strategy working together in unison, because great ideas are great ideas, but really it is about the execution. We've had many clients come to us with great ideas, but then when we sat down with them and said, this is a budget required to get that idea out there, they weren't so excited. So the idea wasn't as good an idea as they thought in the beginning. So be mindful that it's not just about the idea. Everyone can have a good idea. It's about the execution. And that's where we, again, love helping our clients execute on great ideas. Now, you've done all those things that we've talked about earlier, and this is something you can look at with your brand, is you can look at maybe last year you didn't do the community building, and this year, because you've now a little bit more known, you can get an audience together and you can maybe create some impact by diving into community management with techniques that foster engagement and loyalty. So if you don't have a Facebook group, or you don't have a page where they can go and download something or do something, and then you can follow them up with some email campaigns and create an email community, whatever those things are that you can do, think about how your little community, your little brand can get out there into the market and create its own community. Because I talk to a lot of people and say, you don't need to be everybody's favorite thing or flavor of the month. You just need your people, your audience, your thing, whatever it is, right? So find them, and then get them together, and then create a little community. Because what will happen is you'll get them to start creating content. And I always talk to clients about jumping into, if you do have a Facebook page, jump in there, ask a question, and then just put your hands up and walk away. With the second point, explore the role of user-generated content in building a vibrant brand community. So if you ask that question, someone answers, someone doesn't like the answer, they then banter, you start to get some data going on between them, and you start to work out what is the thing that most of your community love and don't love. And then you can move to the next bit, which is understanding how to handle and leverage that customer feedback to strengthen brand community relationships. So it's really a great thing when you can get your community talking. You can look at things in there, and then go back to the first slide we talked about trends. This is a trend, right? So if you find that they're saying things in a certain way, use their language back at them. And when they see that ad or that post, they'll go, hey, that's what I said. That's what I'm thinking. And
exactly.
Yeah, right. So,
and all based in an unconventional way of sourcing that data. It wasn't from a platform that provides information on that. It was from a genuine interaction that created genuine feedback, and now is going to open the door for genuine content to be created.
Because I do talk to a lot of clients about this, is that if you have a number of people saying something, those one or two people saying it means that there is probably another 10 or 20 out there that want to say it, but just don't have the either the platform to do it on, or don't have that sort of mindset where they want to, they're not extroverted.
Or the opportunity.
You've got to understand that if there's something showing up, there's probably more people out there doing it, and you need to think about how big an audience that is, and whether that's worthwhile exploring a solution that you provide, being more aware to them out there, or you need to create one and create that solution and put it out there. So that's where I get really excited about community building in 2024, if you can do it. Now, if you've got that community happening, another way to explore that is to look at other influencers you can collaborate with 2024. So we all know that there's the influencers that we all love to hate, bag, and give a hard time because they're just sitting on a beach taking selfies, right? But that's not what we're talking about here. There are some genuine influencers out there, and we're talking micro and macro type levels here, where they just do enough that they have a good audience and an authentic audience that, they may be in a particular industry that you are trying to approach or can complement with. They're not competitive with you. So look, gain insights into selecting those influencers that align with the brand values and your target audience. So if you can understand the contractual and ethical aspects of that influencer partnership, then you might be able to find a way that this can really work for you. There's so many different ways you can do this, and I've seen some really successful ones in 2023, and hoping to see more of them in 2024. But think about those influencers out there that you notice yourself are doing some good things, and could your brand benefit from a partnership and reaching out to them and seeing if you can collaborate in some way to get their audience to come to you, or your audience to go to them and come back forward in some way that's collaborative. And then obviously explore that creative way to integrate with a broader marketing campaign to maximize the impact. So you might have an offer, you give it to that influencer and say, can you send them to this page and take up that offer? That's sort of one example of that scenario where you couldn't get in front of them, but they can, and they're going to tell them that they've tried it and they like it, or they think it's a really good offer for you guys because you guys all love, I don't know, carrots, and this is a great carrot offer. So go buy some carrots, and they go buy some carrots from this place because it's relevant to their audience, as an example. Pretty bad example, but it's an example.
It is a valid example nevertheless. And just to cover the 3 points, this is actually the structure, the laid out structure of how to create a micro influencing campaign. We're talking about the influencers that we all love to bag. We're not talking about those. We're talking about how in every space, every industry has a community. Within that community, there will be people that are more voiced, more opinionated. They have a little bit of pull among everybody else, and they may even be within the brand's audience. So keep an open eye to the people in the crowd, because some of those people, they will be exactly the people that you want to consider as a micro influencer potential contract, and then define that specificity of the contract, set expectations with those people, and explore that way of creating a mutually benefiting campaign. Right now, you're talking to, or the person talking is a little bit of a micro influencer to some level. Chris knows this for a while. I've been, I wouldn't say sponsored, it's too much of a word, but I've been able to have an agreement with a brand of supplements that I absolutely love. And they saw the content that I kept putting up with their product. And out of no expectation on my part, they got in touch with me and they offered me to not sponsor again, just give me product on a regular basis, not a whole lot of product, but it's product that I was already using. So yes, it is possible to create those micro influencing little niche contracts or relationships, and those will be beneficial for smaller brands that want to grow. These people don't require a whole lot of maintenance. They're not the starlet wannabes, and they will probably already be close to what your message is putting out. So explore those.
Exactly. And I think the key to what you're saying there is it doesn't always have to be monetary in the relationship. It can be.
No, absolutely. That's exactly right. Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. So now you've gone through all that process. What you need to make sure is what is your customer experience and what is one you can create in 2024. So you want to have a positive one, and you want them to love you, and you want them to do all the fantastic things that you want them to do. But maybe you need to explore omni-channel strategies to create a seamless and personalized customer journey. So look at, when they meet you or where they are and where you've along that process, can you take that customer journey and make it a good one for them? And then understand the role of customer feedback and refining the products and services. So like I touched on earlier, if you're finding there's a trend of feedback that you're getting from customers where they're saying they love the product, it could be just they're just loving it. So how do you find more people and tell them that these people are loving it, you need to love it too? Or, it could be the negative one, which is it's not going as well as people would hope. It does a certain thing after 3 months and then breaks. How do you say to them, we fix that problem and make it a positive PR experience for them down the road? So there's all different ways you can approach that one. And then we've touched on this earlier, but how can you leverage technology and enhance the customer interaction? So even if they're having a good or a bad experience, how can you use the digital world or technologies, trends, things like that to maybe change their mindset or enhance their mindset with that experience that they're having from whatever that is? So these are things that you can just explore to make sure the customer experience is a good one and it's in your control. Like there's some things that we can't control in life. Not everything is controllable, but there is some things you can influence. Yes, Sim?
Absolutely. I agree. Sorry, I just had a little cough there.
Cool. All right, we'll get on to the next one. So now you've got customers, great. experience. They're loving your brand. What we want to touch on here is, can you introduce sustainability into your marketing in 24? So look at either exploring an eco-conscious marketing strategy that has a positive impact on your brand perception. You could look at understanding the consumer's expectations regarding the sustainability and ethical practices that your brand holds, or you could learn how to communicate your brand's commitment to sustainability effectively. This sustainability and eco-friendly and all those things, it's on all different levels. When we're talking about this, it doesn't mean you have to be, saving Amazon forests and trees and things like that. It could be just simple things you're doing that are helping the world in some way, and making sure that you're branding it with your values and marketing it out there so that your consumers are seeing it and they buy into it. And it just may have an impact on your bottom line and on your brand's influence in your industry by saying, we're pretty proud. You said this earlier, when it comes to trends and things like that, right? Don't sit on the fence. Like, make a decision. Yep. You're for it, you're against it, you don't, you love it, whatever it is. But just get out there and tell people about it. Yep. Now, that is going to bring us to the end of today's session. And we usually have a coffee cup moment. And so, look, as we conclude this enlightening journey through the pillars of brand marketing for 2024, we've explored the crucial elements that will shape your brand's trajectory in the ever-evolving landscape. So as you incorporate these insights into your brand strategy, we envisage a future where your brand is not only adapting to change, but it's leading the way, okay? So the idea is the canvas of 2024 is yours to paint. And with these strategies that we've talked about today, hopefully we've influenced the way that your brand is poised for unparalleled success this year. So there's plenty of opportunity for you to do some stuff. I think even if you implement one of those things, you're going to do really, really well in 24. If you implement all of them, you're going to have a really successful 2024, because people can't avoid you. You're out there, you're doing stuff, you're being seen, and you're being seen and heard in a way that they want to be receiving it. So looking forward to that.
I really want to emphasize what Chris just said there. Just take action. Take action. Not seldom we come across conversations and the topic of initiatives, unconventional strategies, and things that fall outside of the box that people have marketing pegged into, are definitely the thing they need to do. They need to try, because many times the conventional ways have been beaten. They haven't worked, but somehow people haven't jumped out of that space and admitted the possibility that something else might. So the strategies that we talked about today, any single one of them can produce results, and all of them can fail. Yes, correct. But you need to take action. The coffee moment today has a special mention to the word action, because 2024 is at the start, and you cannot afford to be irrelevant anymore. You have to take action. You have to do some soul searching. You have to align with some values and make them public. Because if you haven't gotten the results that you complain about thus far, it's probably because you didn't do the things that would have gotten you there. So extra highlight to the word action, and try one of these strategies and let us know how that goes.
Exactly. And if you're not sure how to go about it, we'd love you to book a discovery session. So let us better understand your business and assess the state of your brand, your goals, and where your brand needs to be. What does a discovery session do? Well, this is how it works. We have a brand guardianship plan that we put together as simple as 1, 2, 3. You book us in, we do a discovery call, you let us understand and assess your business, where you're at. We select a program that, we understand one size doesn't fit all, but we've worked together to determine a program that'll work for you and get the most out of your branding. And then after that, we've got that in place. We look at onboarding you and then doing our coaching sessions where we meet with you regularly. And we call this brand guardianship, so you can stay focused on amplifying your brand. So if that's of interest to you, please book us in for a discovery session. Reach out to us. We'd love to help you influence your brand amplify your brand, throughout 2024. And thank you again for joining us. We've kicked off the first one for the year, Sim. Congratulations, and looking forward to doing more of them in 2024. Thanks, guys.
Clicking the lights on it. Yes. See you around.
See you, everyone. Catch you. Thanks for joining us.